Are you curious about down payment assistance or curious about buying a home in Minnesota? I'm here with Peter Lindquist. We're going to specifically talk about down payment assistance through MHFA financing. And if you've got any questions or comments, please reach out to us. We're happy to go through it. Be sure to like and subscribe to this video, even comment for us. Again, I'm here with Peter Lindquist. Let's get started. How you doing, Peter?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I'm ready to talk.
So, Peter, what is down payment assistance and who is it for?
Yeah, so let's just talk about who is it for to begin with. It's generally speaking for buyers who qualify to get a home loan in every other way except for down payment. Then we end up getting buyers down payment assistance. If a buyer has their own down payment, in many cases, they don't qualify for down payment assistance. So down payment assistance programs, they're not gifts, they are loans. So let's focus today on the Minnesota Housing Finance Agency, which is by far the most common down payment assistance programs in Minnesota. They offer loans to buyers that help offset the amount of money that they need. So if they need $20,000 to buy a house, they can choose the monthly payment loan program that's $18,000, leaving the buyer only to come up with $2,000. So that's the main down payment assistance programs from MHFA, Minnesota Housing Finance Agency. There's also local community programs. Just as a broad brush, they have individual programs that come and go. They're not always funded, but some of those can add $30,000 up to $60,000 of loans, not grants, okay? Loans that help reduce a buyer's payment. I have a bunch of those on my YouTube channel in case you want to check that out as well.
Yeah, that was a lot of info and really high level, really fast. So back to the MHFA piece. So you said that that's probably the most common in Minnesota. And then you mentioned that there's a repayment plan. What are my options as a consumer if I qualify for down payment assistance? What are my options through MHFA?
There are three main programs through MHFA. One is called the Deferred Payment Loan. And that one has a more conservative maximum income limit. It also has a maximum asset limit. The benefit to the program is it's 0% interest, 0 monthly payments. You only have to pay it off once you sell the house, rent it out, or refinance it. So, and that goes up to $14,000 presently. That number changes from year to year. They also have the same version called the Deferred Payment Loan Plus that goes up to $18,000. That has a few characteristics that you need to meet in order to get that program. If you earn too much money or if you have too much money left over, so those programs, if you have more than 8 monthly payments left over in your liquid accounts, you don't qualify, okay? With the step up with the monthly payment loan, you can have $1 million in the bank and you can borrow that money. It's also got a much more liberal maximum income limit to it. You can borrow that money to help offset your down payment assistance because it has a monthly payment. It pays off over 10 years at the same interest rate as the first mortgage. So it adds to your monthly payment. Okay. So most people would want to qualify for the deferred payment loan, but probably more people qualify for the monthly payment loan.
Sounds great. Yeah. And that is a good explanation. So the deferred payment loan, again, is you get some help for your down payment and your costs of entry. And then you get a second mortgage, essentially, or a second loan on the home, but you don't pay anything. You don't have to pay anything monthly, but you could pay it off early, I assume, correct?
You could, although I always ask, why would you? It's 0% interest.
Sure.
So if you have $14,000, pay it against the first mortgage, or if you've got a $14,000 car loan, pay that off.
That's a really good point. And then the second one you talked about would be actually a monthly payment, or the third one you talked about, I should say, would actually be a monthly payment that you would have in addition to your current mortgage, but the rate would be the same as your first mortgage.
Yep, that's correct. And because it pays off in 10 years, you're building equity pretty quickly with that program. but it adds, on an $18,000 loan, that's about $200 a month. So it adds a significant payment to your debt load because you're basically borrowing your down payment with that program and having to repay it.
What more should people know about MHFA financing?
A couple of things. One is that it is good through the entire state of Minnesota. The thing that varies is the maximum income limits. So those are posted on the MHFA website, or you can always just reach out to me. And those will depend on family size in terms of what those maximum income limits are for that program. Also, it is always funded. Or it has been for the last 20 years. Who knows in the future? But for now, there's always money there. So you don't have to worry about it like with community programs where, literally the purchase agreement gets written. I'm calling that day to confirm that they've still got money for me to reserve with City of Woodbury, for example. With MHFA, I don't have to worry about that. We know it's going to be there.
Awesome. That sounds great. So MHFA available to any consumer in Minnesota, so long as they qualify. And there's a few different programs available for them. And if they want to learn any more, they should really be reaching out to you. That's what I've learned today.
MHFA has a program for people who are not first-time home buyers. So if you have owned a home within the last 3 years and occupied it, you are considered not a first-time home buyer. They've got a program called the Step Up program, and that has really generous maximum income limits. And so that's another program that people can use if they have owned a home and are qualified in every other way, but they need help with down payment.
Yeah, that's a great point. Many people will say, they'll ask me, are there any first-time home buyer programs? What you're saying is yes, and MHFA has a non-first-time home buyer program.
That's exactly correct. First-time homebuyer programs are really broad. We're talking about MHFA. There's also some national programs that are not about down payment assistance. There's, the community programs. We're focusing on the state program and in particular, state of Minnesota.
Do you want to touch on any other programs briefly in this video?
Well, if you do have your down payment, there are a couple of other programs that are very common called Freddie Mac Home Possible or Fannie Mae HomeReady. Those have a generous first-time homebuyer income limit. You do need your down payment, but it's only a 3% down. The big benefit to it is that not only is it a lower rate for virtually everybody that borrows, but the rate isn't adjusted by credit score. That's really the big thing, where if you're not qualified for that, a credit score of 680, for example, is the rate ends up getting really high on a traditional conventional loan. It's the same with these programs.
So, Peter, you touched on MHFA financing and down payment assistance for first-time homebuyers through Minnesota broadly. And then you touched on a couple of other larger programs through Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. And then you also touched on some community programs. It sounds like there's a lot of options for consumers, and really they should be reaching out to you and I, probably more specifically you, to get started here. Yeah,
that's really a great summary, Travis. It's very hard to just say, here's the first-time homebuyer program, because one size doesn't fit all. We need to know more about you in order to determine which of the first-time homebuyer programs fit you.
Yeah, perfect. Well, I appreciate it. And I know that Peter has other videos about down payment assistance that might go into a little bit more specifics. I encourage anyone on my channel watching this to check out Peter's channel and check those out.
All right. Well, thanks for the opportunity to talk with you today, Travis.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure, and we'll see you next time.